Hello there, hello family. Welcome to another episode of The Eating's Jam. I'm so excited that you took the time to join us. We want to give a shout out to our production team, Blessed Production, and Eyes Have Not Seen, our executive producer, Marilyn Aiken. Shout out to them. The links are to how to connect with these various production companies will be listed somewhere here, there, or there. Don't you love it? Listen, if you are a returning family, what I call family, thank you for taking the time to tune back in and listen. I am very grateful for your feedback, for your comments. It makes this YouTube channel get better and better. So thank you for doing that. But if this is your first time coming across this and you're wondering what this is all about, this is a Christian faith-based YouTube channel that we have called Eden's Gem based on our original intention that God had for us when he created us. And I believe, and our community believes, that we are gems. We are very precious. And so we've embarked on a journey to first of all clarify what gemstones are all about. Thus far, if you have missed some of the episodes, again, you can see the link up somewhere. Or if you're like me and you like to snooze around a little bit and do a little bit more research, you can search more episodes up. All right, thank you again for your time. So, last episode, we have been looking into biblical mentioning of gemstones. Is this gemstone and being an Eden's gem thing, is it biblical anyway? Because these days we all come up with stuff. And so we looked at where exactly the Bible mentions gemstones in detail for the first time. In previous episodes, we look at when it was first mentioned and given more details, at least, is in Exodus 28 when Moses was instructed to build a tabernacle and to bring people on board, artisans and specialists and people that have mastery in stones and metals and things like that, right? And then God instructed Moses to anoint Aaron, his brother, to be the high priest. And we notice that's when God gives detailed instruction and mentioning of gemstones. So that's so far where we are. I have become your newest gemologist in town, at least in the virtual world. And I am delving deep into the world of gemology. And to be honest with you, when I started off doing these episodes of Eden's Gem, I just wanted to talk about gemstones. And then we roll into Bible studies, into what different outstanding women are doing, into what phenomenal human beings are doing here on earth, and to be an inspiration for us to become the unique individuals that we are. I honestly did not expect to delve deep into the world of gemology. But as I am doing more research for these episodes, I am falling in love with the world of gemology and gemstones in general. So before we delve into talking about the first three stones that is listed biblically ordered, that was on Aaron's chest, the chest plate of Aaron, the high priest, I want us to just do a little bit of recap of what gemstones is all about based on research. Okay, so I have a few points here that I want to talk about based on the research that I have discovered is that number one, gemstones have been objects of desire for millennia. And when they talk about millennia, I know that in this generation, we talk about the millennials, and we think that is a new concept. Millennia basically means something that is thousands of years old. So, what research is showing that gemstones have been an object of desire for thousands of years. Some people date way back. Some of the research that I'm doing says it goes back to millions of years. I was not there millions of years. I don't know how long the earth has been, so I don't know. But I know that it's been an object of desire for a very long time. Now, some of the research that I'm coming across, even though if you look at the dictionary, it will give you a definition of a gemstone, it's saying that there is really not a particular single definition for gemstones other than it has certain characteristics that makes it be classified as a gemstone or be part of it, and that it is treasured, it is fashioned to reveal beauty, And so anything that has a certain composition that is very treasured and it's fashioned to produce beauty and also used for an adornment are some of the characteristics that are used to define gemstones. But some gemologists are saying that there's not a single definition, which, in my opinion, going through the research makes sense. Now, there are three key attributes of gemstones. Number one is beauty. So they are very pretty or very beautiful when you encounter it, just based on its uniqueness, its composition, and things like that. And then they're very rare. So it's gemstones are not something that you'll be walking on the street and you will discover like five of them, like you will find stones or sticks or leaves or um, things of that nature, right? So beauty, the key three key attributes is beauty, it's rare, and then durability. So that's how they define gemstones. All right. So, with that said, gemstones now, once you discover anything that's beautiful and anything that's rare and anything that is durable, does that mean it's a gemstone? No. They've also taken the time to classify them based on species. And the species are put into the category of what species it is based on the composition, whether it's minerals, it's quartz, or how it came to form in the geographical location and the gemological elements that are discovered in there. So, with all that said, when we go to Exodus, I was about to Exodus. I believe it's Exodus 28 is when God gives instruction to Moses. And again, just so we don't drag these episodes, I want to take it three stones at a time because God said it should go in three stones in four columns. Okay. So the first stone is, depending on the version that you read, sardius, ruby, or carnelian. I've explained it in the previous episode. You can listen as to why various versions of the Bible uses different names for it. Again, it's all when you look at sardius, ruby, or red carnelian, they are made up of the same composition. Different eras called it different names. They belong to the corundum family, Corundum. Based on where you're from, your pronunciation and enunciation will be different. I call it the corundum family. And they are minerals. Okay, so ruby, whether it's sardius or carnelian, these stones belong to this kind of family and this composition. That's how it is identified. It is the most treasured of stones. Sapphire belongs to the corundian family as well. They are very treasured, and in this family, sapphire and ruby are the two most treasured in the corundum family. They are prized for millennia for their rich color, their bright luster, and their durability. And these two, or ruby, as it's listed first, account for 50% of global colored stone productions. So it's not all stones that are colored, but no wonder the Bible says in Proverbs 31 that a woman of worth is very rare, like ruby. So, rubies being the first stone that God gives to be one of the stones to be implanted or put in on Aaron's chest, breast chest, is ruby because it's very rare. It's hard to come by, and it's not one of the stones that you can easily cut. One of the most coveted of all gemstones is the ruby. That's why we are gemstones. So if you are a woman that you identify as a ruby, you should know that you're very high priced, that God loves us so much as rubies that he embedded us close to the high priest's chest, his bosom. And in this day and age, you and I, our high priest is Jesus Christ, the Son of God. And I want you to begin to walk about not as anything that can be treaded upon, but you are a ruby Maybe you will identify as some of the other 11 stones we're going to talk about. And as we look at our compositions based on, we will be able to know what classification we belong to, what stone we belong to, and that we are all very much precious to the point that the high priest, our high priest Jesus, doesn't put us at the hem of his garment, even though virtue can come from there, but he holds us to his bosom. He holds us very, very close. And and that's one of the reasons why, as I'm discovering the composition and the rarity and the durability of stones, I'm falling in love and I'm delving deeper and deeper into it. Red is associated with power, with wealth, with love, and with desire. In America, I've been told, I haven't done the research, so I'm not sure, that if you buy a car and it's red, your insurance is expensive. I don't know how true that is, okay? So don't quote me with that. Some things are just folk tales and some are true. I've heard, right? Why is that? Because red condones power. It speaks wealth. It speaks love. Valentine's Day comes around and everything is red. And it also speaks of desire. So when God is putting you as a ruby to his chest, what he's saying is that I value you. You're very wealthy to me. You are powerful. You radiate. And that's why you are the first stone that I'm putting very close to my heart. Ruby is uncommon in Asian artifacts, probably due to its rarity and difficult to work, owing to high hardness. Thereby, many have used it as garnets. So, if you look at a diamond ring, those that wear diamonds, right? So I have a little ring on here. It has a big diamond in the center, and then they usually are able with diamond make these little stones around it. Because of the nature of ruby and how rare it is and hard to work with, it is usually set as bigger stones, and you wouldn't find it in little break like. So they set it as garnet. That's how precious we are to God. Some of us, it may be a challenge to people that it's hard to work with us, but it also creates our uniqueness and how we cannot easily fall apart. The next stone that is listed, according to the Bible, when it comes to Aaron's breastplate and the stone set in, is topaz. One of the things that we are finding that based on these 12 stones set by the Bible, many other researchers believe that's where, or the foundation where we begin to get these zodiac signs and the horoscope, these stones that we allude to the 12 months of the year. I remember when as a November born that I was told that my stone is topaz, right? I don't believe in those things anymore. I don't look in horoscopes anymore. I look up to heaven. But topaz has always been known as a yellowish orange stone. In my gemological studies and research, I have found this about topaz, that it's a beautiful, bright gem in a wide range of delicate colors. So, again, if you remember from the earlier episode, I was talking about in historical past, stones were classified based on their color. But as we've advanced in technology and research, we are now looking at the species that the stone comes from and its like composition more so than just the color. So as they've researched, they've now realized that any stone, not just because it's yellowish or orange, doesn't mean it's a topaz, but its composition. And now they've come to identify, just like now we have pink diamonds and blue diamonds, that indeed topaz does come in various colors. There have been blue, pink, orange, yellow, brown, and even colorless. One of the most popular faceted gemstones in jewelry for its clarity, high hardness, and glossy luster. So, no wonder God chose this particular stone because it is very versatile, but it also appears very beautiful. That's why God decided that whether you identify as a ruby or a topaz, you belong to the Father's bosom. We're all very different, very uniquely crafted, but we belong to his bosom. Topaz is rarely seen in ancient jewelry, with citrine and peridot more prevalent. So now you see why certain variations of the Bible, the New Living Translation, does not use topaz but uses peridot. Don't you love it? So there are no mistakes when it comes to the Bible, and when some of us are saying that the Bible contradicts itself. The reason why it appears that the Bible contradicts itself is because we are not ready to delve deep in and ask questions. So, dear Eden's Gem, do ask questions and don't just discount that the Bible, just because we read two different versions that list two different stones, that it's different. It is the same. It's just that things that we used to maybe do in the past before knowledge came, we no longer, we've reshifted our thinking. The last stone in this category, and we will end this episode, is emerald. So, emerald, or carbuncle, as the King James calls it, it's rare. It's very rare in the world. And when you look at ancient royalties, particularly in India, where um, emerald was first discovered and very easily identified, it that emerald is one of the rarest forms of gemstone. And when in ancient times, when you will see an emerald on somebody, whether in their crown, that meant that that person was royalty or belonged to a royal family. That the average person could not afford an emerald. No wonder it's the third stone in the first row that God chose to be on the bosom of the high priest. We're very rare. We're royalty. No wonder Peter says it, that we are not just a holy nation, not just a royal priesthood, but our priesthood declares royalty. And that's why we find emerald as those one of the stones. Emerald belongs to the beryl species and is the most important gem of the group. So, as I said, there are different various species, but the pattern that I'm noticing, that God picked in each species the top of the stone in that particular species of gemstones or the composition. This is what I want us to take away with. God specifically, whether we are red, whether we are colorless or yellow or blue or green like the emerald, He has uniquely picked every single one of us and held us in His bosom. So you're not different just because you're an emerald. That doesn't mean you are less class, or just because you mentioned third doesn't mean in your own species of gemstones, you are the rarest, you are the most special, and you are an exceptional in that group. You are set apart, you're outstanding. And so don't look down on yourself. These are the conversations that we do have in Eden's Jam when we tune in. Has this been blessing you? Remember to subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend to tell an auntie to tell an uncle and tell a brother. And I hope to see you in the next episode. God bless you and have a great rest of the week.